9/18/26. So I've been here since I've been a baby.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Well, everybody heard about that on the radio, and people talking, and one thing I remember, I don't know how I remember a stupid thing like that, but us kids, you know how when they get big news like that, they gather and they're talking, boy, what the hell, we ain't gonna be able to get to go after them guys. That was our big complaint. We wasn't gonna be able to go over there and get them guys. Oh boy, it's stupid, I'm telling you. I was drafted. My mom, I didn't want to upset her, so I didn't enlist. I turned 18 in September, and I think by November or something like that, Fort Knox, Kentucky. That's where they sent me for basic training. We had our basic infantry training there, plus then we completed the armored division training on the tanks, and that's what I shipped out on, with a tank division.
Recently at Fort Knox, Kentucky, armored units from today's dynamic Army flexed their combat muscles in a demonstration which showed precisely what armor is and what it can do. With its capacity for movement, massive firepower, and built-in protection, the shock action of a modern armor team, backstopped by strong supporting weapons, is a guarantee to quick destructive contact with an enemy.
We were out in the middle of the damn ocean somewhere, I don't know where, but all of a sudden we got word that Germany surrendered. So on our troop ship, I don't know, probably, you got about three tiers of soldiers on there. So probably roughly around 1,500 guys. We had to all go up on deck, one tier at a time, and bring up all your clothing and everything that you had. Dump it right in the middle of the deck, and then they reissued us right there jungle clothes.
Wow.
And the clothing, I never see anything like that in my life. Well, of course, there's no way you could, but that's a lot of guys to dump all the clothes and everything that they had. And that stuff all ended up packing into these big mattress covers.
Throw it overboard, huh? There you go.
Boy, oh boy, and that's all you see that's all we seen for miles. We got there floating things until they sunk. So now we changed course right there, and now we're heading for the Pacific. I was beginning to think I was in the Navy. We were a month out in that damn ship. I spent most of my time on deck. And that was nice, out there like that. And when we hit that rough weather, our ship would be, and the wave would take you up, and oh my God, then it turned like that, and looked down. You thought you were on a goddamn mountain. And then she'd come down, whoa, But anyhow, that was the experience, and that didn't bother me. So,
Bothering me just listening to it, yeah.
well, it was really bad. Our whole trip consisted of speeding along and then all of a sudden crawling, and a lot of times stopping and standing still. The captain he did a pretty good job of informing us what the heck was going on. He would say, "We're off of the certain island here, and they're under heavy attacks." Well, then we found out that we hit this period of when the Germany had already surrendered, so concentration is on them, and they were bombing, and Japan was on a last desperate mission, and they were hitting these islands that the Americans were trying to get on. We were off of the island of Okinawa, and we couldn't get land there at that time because it was under heavy attack. So we laid off there. I forget if it was a day or two. I don't know. I just don't remember. Finally, we're going in to land there. I never see such a mess in my life. There was stuff floating all over the harbors there. Ships half sunk, and all kinds of stuff. I was not involved in any acts of fighting. Thank God, I don't know. We were always a day or a couple days late for that. But, so we landed on Okinawa as a replacement, like, for those poor son of a guns that have been fighting all this time. And so as we're moving inland, you could see the destruction and the effects of that. We're walking in along on the trails and that, and you see, no matter where you look, you see burned out tanks. Most of the Japs, they hadn't even picked them up. I didn't see any dead GIs, but I've seen too many dead Jap soldiers just laying around wherever. And the one thing that kind of impressed me is, if you're going along the trail, and the wind, and it's gonna comes to a spot where it's gonna curve. Mm-hmm. As it curves like that, you're looking right at a burned out cave, and they had all kinds of caves like that where they were burned out. So literally, that give you an idea how they actually ended up, how the fighting was. It was just, as those guys were moving on, they literally had to burn these guys out. We spent an awful lot. We spent all our time going on patrols every day. We had interpreters with us, and we were trying to convince. There was still quite a few Japanese soldiers that were hiding in these goddamn tunnels, whatever you want to, caves and that who the hell knows how deep they went. And The interpreters would be hollering at them, trying to convince them the war was over. Come on, surrender. But they not one of them. All the times that we went out, not one of them came out to surrender or anything like that. I was on guard duty one time, right on the bank. Cliffs were probably 30 feet high, maybe more, I don't know. My God, was littered with bodies down there, but they were all Japs. Terrible views, but
Did you think those Japanese had committed suicide jumping off the cliffs?
I don't know. Probably a lot of them, they were crazy like that. They wouldn't be, didn't want to be captured. Okay, now we're back on Okinawa. Funny terrain where we were. You're either, the fields and flatlands were all rice fields. You know, they had water in them and that. So you had to walk like on the sides of the hills and on patrol looking for Japanese soldiers and stuff, or trying to talk them out of their caves. We're walking along, and all of a sudden we're walking past a Japanese soldier there, laying there dead. He got his rifle and everything with him. So what the heck? So I'm walking on that path, and I'm looking at him when they got to him. Looking at him, I veered off of the trail. When I turned back, holy mackerel, I stopped just short of walking into a goddamn big spider.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, that spider looked that big to me, you know, but he was a big spider. Now, most of the growth there from during the shooting and all that stuff isn't too high. So this goddamn spider's got this web across there, and there he is. Right there. Hey, I jumped back. I'm scared of spiders.
Oh gosh.
I don't like spiders. I jumped back. Oh, son of a gun! I throw my carbine up. Boom! I blast him off, and now he all of a sudden, you know, I did that, and this, look, I'm alone. Well, the boys, they don't know. As soon as I shot that gun, they all hit the ground. Pretty soon, my sergeant, his head pops up. He looks around, and he sees me standing there. Looks up at me. All right, Mastrelli, what the hell happened? Oh, Jesus Christ. I had to tell them. And they loaded us up on the ships again. Before I knew it, we were in like a landing force. Oh, my God, dude. You're in a ship, and you look right around you. That's all you see. Ships, battleships off to the side, all kinds of ships and everything. Well, it ended up, we were going to Japan. Oh, and there, sure as heck, we were right there, and the captain says, that's the shore of Japan. And that's what I seen of Japan. I seen the shore of Japan, okay. And that was because I didn't know it, but you have to be there in order to go into Korea. I ended up we landed in Korea. and I ended up occupation force in South Korea. I stood there for a year, just like our landing and this and that. Well, I never landed on one of the islands. The only big difference is there's no gunfire going on. So that's how we landed into South Korea. And our duty there, our first duty there, was to gather up all the Japanese soldiers, disarm them. It's a good thing they didn't. There was just as many. There was more of them, for crying out loud, than there was of us, and they all still got their rifles and stuff. So they had to all come out, put their rifles in a pile, and then move out. When I landed on South Korea, I landed there as a member of the armored division. Well, it's just like that's the way the Army does. That's the way they do things. You come on, then you're there, and then they start calling names. You go here in this group, and they go another group. Well, the group I went into, I become a member of the Field Artillery Battalion. I don't know if that was the 49th or what. So now I'm a member of the Field Artillery Battalion, and they classified me as, they said I'm a radio operator. The only thing I knew about the goddamn radios was whatever, when we were in the armored division, you had the walkie-talkies and that, and the radio to communicate with each other in the tanks. It kind of made me thank the good old Lord about all that time I was spending when we were bitching and spending. When the hell were we going to get off the ship? You know, we weren't sailors. We were. The hell, what take? It's only supposed to be about a 6-day trip, or whatever. But boy, I thank the good old Lord that I spent that month or whatever it was drifting around all over the ocean. It wasn't nice. It was a lot of unpleasant stuff that, but